Your first bolt action tournament, what to expect. Your first bolt action tournament is going to be nothing like you expect. And I mean that in the best possible way. You're going to meet players who've been in the game for 10 or more years. You'll see armies you didn't know existed, and you'll play 3 or 4 games back to back. And by the end of the day, you'll have learned more about bolt action than in the previous 6 months of club nights. But, and this is the bit that most people don't tell you, there are things about tournament play which will catch you off guard if you're not ready for them. And that's what this video is about. Before we get into what to expect, let me address the questions some of you might be asking. Why enter a tournament at all? If you're playing at your club and having good games, enjoying the hobby, what's the point of paying an entry fee and giving up a full Saturday or Sunday to sit in a hall and play bolt action against strangers? Because tournament play is where you actually learn the game. Club nights are comfortable. You play the same people, the same lists, the same table layouts, and that's great. That's where you build your foundation. But tournaments expose you to different play styles, different national rules, different interpretations of the same mechanics you've been using for months. And that exposure, that's what accelerates your understanding. Now, I've been playing bolt action for 10 years or more, and I've attended the World Team Championships. I've played in GTs across the world, and I still learn something at almost every event I attend. Not because I don't know the rules, because seeing how different players apply those rules under time pressure with different armies reveals interactions you simply never see at club level. So if you're on the fence about entering your first event, this video is me telling you to do it and telling you exactly how to be ready. And if you want my bolt action version free reference sheet, I use at every event. Put ref sheet in the comments below and I'll send you a copy. Right, so let me walk you through what a bolt action tournament actually looks like, because I think the image most people have in their head is not the actual reality. Most UK bolt action tournaments are held in village halls, community centres, occasionally a hotel conference room. You arrive in the morning, usually between 8 and 9, register, get your table assignment and find your seat. The tables are usually preset with terrain, and you'll typically play 3 games over the course of the day, each running about 2 to 2.5 hours, including setup and pack down. There's a tournament organiser, the TO, who runs the event. They pair you against opponents, manage the scenario selections, handle any rules disputes, and keep the schedule moving. Most UK events use a Swiss draw system, which means after the first round, you're paired against players on the same win-loss record as you. So if you lose your first game, which most new players do, your second game is against someone who also lost their first game. The system naturally matches you against players at your level as the day progresses. The atmosphere is the thing that surprises most people. It is not intense and it's not cutthroat. Bolt action has some of the most welcoming tournament communities I've experienced in tabletop gaming. Players will talk you through their army rules, they'll explain interactions, they'll help you with the scenario mechanics if you're unsure. The competitive players are competitive, but they're also generous with their time and knowledge in the main. And there's always a prize table, best general, best painted, sometimes a wooden spoon for the player who comes last. The culture around those prizes tells you a lot about the community. The best painted award often carries as much prestige as the win. Okay, so 1. The pace. Tournament games run on a clock, not always a literal chess clock, though some events do think about using them, but there's a schedule, and that means the pace is different from a club night where you can spend 40 minutes debating whether a building provides hard cover or soft cover. At a tournament, you need to know your rules, know your list, and make decisions efficiently. And this is where most new players struggle in their first event, not because they don't understand the game, but because they haven't practiced playing at pace. The fix is simple. Before your first tournament, play 2 or 3 practice games with a timer. Give each player a couple of hours total for the game. That's roughly the amount of real time you'll have at most events. You'll quickly find out which parts of your game slow down under pressure, and those are the parts to sharpen up. 2. Rules disputes are often handled differently. At a club night, a rules disagreement becomes a conversation. At a tournament, it's structured. If you and your opponent can't agree on a rule, you'll call the TO, and the TO makes a ruling. That ruling stands for the game. You can discuss it after the round, but during the game, the TO's word is final. And here's the thing, this is actually a relief, not a problem. Most new players worry about rules disputes at tournaments. In practice, the structure makes them easier to resolve than at club level. The TO is there to make the call and keep the game moving. You don't have to win an argument, just call the TO and get the ruling and then play on. And this is where most people get it consistently wrong. They either don't call the TO when they should, or they try to argue a ruling after it's been made. Neither of those helps you. Ask for the TO when you need them, accept the ruling, and focus on your next activation. 3. Scenario play is different from casual play. Most tournaments don't just play the basic points and kills game. They use scenarios, structured objectives that change what you're actually fighting over. Key positions, hold objectives, breakthrough. Each scenario has specific victory conditions, and those conditions change your list priorities, your deployment, your mid-game decisions. A list that dominates a casual kill points game can completely fall apart in a scenario where you need to hold ground at the end of turn 6, because the list was built to kill, not to survive, not to hold objectives, and not to be in the right place at the right time. Before your first tournament, read the scenario pack. Most UK events will publish the scenarios in advance. If they do, read them. Play test at least one of them at your club. Understand how the victory conditions change the way the game plays, because they will change it significantly. 4. Your list will be tested in ways club games don't. Here's what I mean by that. At your club, you probably play against the same 3 or 4 armies. You know their rules, you know their lists, you know what to expect. At a tournament, you might face 4 completely different armies in a single day. A Soviet infantry horde, a German armoured list, a British artillery build, a Japanese assault force. Each one demands a different tactical approach, and each one interacts with your list differently. And by game 3, you'll see exactly where your list has strengths and where it has gaps that you never noticed in 5 months of club play. This is the single most valuable thing about tournament play, the list feedback. You will learn more about your own army in one tournament than in months of casual games, because every game exposes a different weakness, and every weakness is something you can fix before the next event. 5. The social side is the best part. This surprises people. The social side of a bolt action tournament is generally the best part of the day. Between rounds, over lunch, at the bar afterwards, you're talking to people who love the same game you love. You're seeing armies you've never seen painted to a standard you didn't know was possible. You're having conversations about rules, tactics, list building, history, all with people who care about the same thing you care about. I've made friends at bolt action tournaments that I now see at every event on the circuit. That community, that's the thing that keeps you in the game long after the competitive results stop mattering as much. So, if you remember one thing from this video, remember this about tournaments. A bolt action tournament is not a test of how good you are. It's a learning environment that happens to have a scoreboard. The players who improve fastest are the ones that treat every tournament as a diagnostic, not a verdict. What worked? What didn't? Which rules did I not know well enough? Where did my list fail? That data is worth more than any trophy. And now let's talk about how to actually prepare. The 4-week plan. Right, if you've decided to enter your first tournament, and I really hope you have, here's how to prepare. 4 weeks out, structured, practical. Week 4, list finalisation. Now, 4 weeks before the event, your list is locked, not almost locked, but locked. No tweaking, no last minute unit swaps, no reading the army book at midnight the week before and deciding you actually want to try a different sub-faction. Your list should be built using the principles from the previous video in this series. A solid infantry corps, good activation count, clear roles for each unit. If you haven't seen that video, it covers the 4 mistakes that destroy first lists and how to fix them. I'll put a link above somewhere. Print your list. Print 2 copies, one for you and one for your opponent. Write down the points cost of every unit. Highlight your national special rules. If you're playing the US, highlight Fire and Manoeuvre. Soviet Union, the Great Patriotic War. Great Britain, artillery support. Your opponent should be able to read your list and understand your army in under 2 minutes. And there's going to be a link in the description. If you haven't picked up your army book yet, the Warlord Games link is below. Army books, starter sets, it's all there. Help support the WarHQ at no extra cost to you. So, moving on to week 3, scenario practice. 3 weeks out, play scenarios. Get the event scenario pack if you can. Most UK TOs publish these in advance and play at least 2 of them at your club. Not just any game, the actual scenarios with the actual victory conditions at your tournament point level. You'll discover things. Your list might struggle to hold objectives. Your army might be too slow for breakthrough scenario. Your artillery might not have the range to support a key position. These are things you want to discover 3 weeks before the event, not during round 2 at the event. Week 2, timed games. 2 weeks out, play with a timer. Each player gets a couple of hours, no exceptions. When your time runs out, the game ends. Whatever turn you're on. This is going to be how it is in tournaments. This will feel uncomfortable, and that's the point. You need to practice making decisions under time pressure because that's the environment you'll be in. You'll learn which decisions you can make quickly and which ones you're going to agonise over. And the ones you agonise over are the ones to study before the event. Week 1. It's getting exciting. Packing and logistics. The week before the tournament, pack your bag, and I mean physically pack it. Don't leave it until the morning of the event. You need your army, fully painted if possible, and based. Your dice, order dice in a bag. Plus a handful of regular D6s, your tape measure, your army list, 2 printed copies, your army book, a pen and notepad for recording results and noting learning points, snacks and water. Tournament days are long and you will forget to eat if you don't bring along food. A small terrain kit if the event requires players to bring terrain. Most UK events provide terrain, but some require you to bring a few pieces. Check the event pack. And on that note, if you're looking for models, paints, dice, or anything else to get tournament ready, the Warlord Games link is in the description, covers everything that you'll need. And why not like and subscribe down below while you're at it? You'll be instantly updated when the next video in this series drops. And if my Bolt Action version 3 reference sheet sounds useful, put ref sheet in the comments and I'll send it to you directly. Love to hear from you all on this one. Tournament experiences. Good ones, bad ones, the one where everything went wrong and you still had a great day, drop them below. I love to hear them. So, we're up to tournament day. What actually happens? Okay. Let me walk you through a typical kind of tournament day. Not the theory, the reality. You arrive, you're nervous, everyone is nervous. Even the players who've been doing this for years. That nervousness is normal and it passes within about 10 minutes of the first game starting. You register, you find your table, you meet your first opponent, and here's the important bit, the pre-game conversation. You introduce yourself, you exchange army lists, and those printed copies you brought. You talk through your national special rules, you ask about theirs, you confirm the scenario and the victory conditions, and then you deploy and play. During the game, call out your rules clearly when you activate a unit. State what it's doing. When you fire, state the number of shots, the range, and any modifiers. When your opponent does something you're not sure about, ask. Not aggressively, just, can you walk me through that rule? Most players will happily explain, and if there's a genuine disagreement, call the TO. After the game, shake hands, record the result. Take 5 minutes to note down what you've learned, what worked, what didn't, what surprised you, and then reset for the next round. At the end of the day, do stay for the prize giving. Even if you haven't won a game, the prize giving is where the community comes together, and the best painted award is always worth seeing. Some of the armies at bolt action tournaments are genuinely extraordinary. The competitive mindset, what I've learned. Here's something I want to share from my 10 years plus of tournament play. The players who improve the fastest at tournaments are not the ones who win their first event. They're the ones who lose their first event, understand why they lost, and come back better the next time. Your first tournament is not about results, it's about data. Every game tells you something about your list, your rules knowledge, your decision making. The players who treat tournaments as a diagnostic tool, who write down what they learned after each game, who review their list with the benefit of 4 different matchups, those are the players who get dangerous very, very quickly. I've seen players go from losing every game at their first tournament to placing in the top third at the third event, not because they suddenly became tactical geniuses, because they used each tournament to fix specific problems. First event, list structure. Second event, scenario play. Third event, pace and decision making. Each event fixes one layer. And here's the other thing. Competitive bolt action is not about knowing more rules than your opponent. It's about knowing your rules cold and understanding how they react with the scenario and terrain and the opponent across the table. The best tournament players I know are not rules lawyers. They're players who understand their own army inside out and make good decisions under pressure. That's a skill you build by playing, and tournaments are the most efficient environment for building it. Now, the mistake that costs most new players the most. And this is where most people get it consistently wrong. The biggest mistake I see at first tournaments isn't a list building error or a rules misunderstanding. It's an expectation error. New players arrive expecting to win, or at least expecting to be competitive. And when they lose the first game, which most do, it affects their entire day. They play their second game frustrated. They play the third game with a list they've already decided is wrong. And if there's a game 4, they're really not playing anymore. They're just going through the motions and counting down to going home. The players who have a great first tournament, regardless of results, are the ones who arrive with the right expectations. They're there to learn. They're there to play against new armies, and they're there to see how their list holds up against different threats. Every loss is information, and every mistake is a note for the next time. Every game against an experienced player is a free coaching session if you approach it that way. That mindset shift from I need to win to I need to learn is the single biggest thing that separates players who enjoy tournaments from players who don't come back. Right, let's pull this all together. Your first bolt action tournament is going to be one of the best days you have in this hobby if you prepare properly. Arrive with the right mindset and treat every game as a learning opportunity. You will come away from it a significantly better player than you went in. 4 weeks out, lock your lists. 3 weeks out, scenario practice. 2 weeks, time games. And the week of the tournament, pack your bag, tournament day, exchange lists, play rules clearly, call the TO when needed, and take notes after every game. And the mindset, learn, don't measure. Your first tournament is data collection, not a verdict on your ability. All the army books, starter sets and modelling supplies you need to get ready are linked in the description below through Warlord Games. Help support the WarHQ at no extra cost to you. So take care guys, and we'll talk to you again soon.